Thank you, first of all, for giving me this opportunity, Nirlep, to join this August panel. Jahangir and myself go a long way. I know we've been dealing very closely on various QFC matters. Alok Saab, good to see you. I was planning to see you when you were in Doha. Unfortunately, we could not. And really, I'm really feeling as a great privilege to be a part of this panel discussion. Nilep, your question, yes, I've been here for 28 years. I've seen it all in terms of a country's transformation, a small little country in the Gulf region, calling shots in every sphere of life. It's a great journey which I've been fortunate enough to witness over the last 28 years. In fact, that time the country was ruled by Father Amir's father, Sheikh Khalifa bin Ahmad Al Thani. Then, from 1995, just I think June 26th, Sheikh Hamad bin Khalifa Al Thani took over as the Emir of Qatar, and all these changes started rolling in. He led the country admirably for the next 16, 17 years. Then his son, Sheikh Tamim bin Ahmad Al Thani, the Emir, present Emir, took over. So this, I would personally attribute, to the visionary leadership of these gentlemen, and who had empowered the right people under them. That has really stimulated whatever you have seen here. They understood what is their strength, the thing under the earth, which is the hydrocarbon assets, and not just the crude of it, the gas reserves. Since all of you are aware, Qatar boasts of third largest gas reserves in the world after Russia and Iran. And more importantly, the gas reserves are all centered around one area, North Field area, the north of Qatar. So they identified what is that potential and exploited that brilliantly from 2000, from 1992, the Qatar Gas, company was set up in 92, 93, but 96 was the first commission of first train of Qatar Gas, and 1998, 99 was the first shipment. And the journey continued. So the LNG is, I would say, is the main success story of Qatar, which has really propelled the growth in different spheres. That all followed. See, even in LNG, as you are all aware, they invested in various phases. Up to 2007, there's been continuous investment on LNG. Up to 14 trains, two large companies, RasGas and Qatar Gas, were there. 7 trains. And the model was fantastic. That is the LNG model worldwide, is to have long-term SPAs. That means the product is already sold. So that means cash cow. It's just open the tap, cash is coming in. So that's the kind of model they set in, and that nearly 77 million tons is already sold in. So that's really the important aspect, which really put Qatar in world map. And yes, during that journey, there have been occasions. For example, 1998 Paris crisis, the crude price went down to $8 per barrel, and that is exactly that time they have invested on all these assets. So there was a lot of argument whether Qatar should have gone ahead and pressed on all these investments, or they should have waited. But they took the right decision, and then the country was completely dead struck in 98, 99 because of all this expansion in the LNG front. But they slowly, stood firm, and then by 2003 or 4, most of the loans were foreclosed, and they became debt-free country. Of course, there are some bonds which are continuing, but largely all this cash which was coming in was used to repay, and that really made them invest more on the downstream elements, whether it's fertilizer expansion. When I came to Qatar, it was only QAFCO 1 and 2. They were producing hardly about 120,000 tons per annum of ammonia, urea. So then we went up to QAFCO 5, QAFCO 6 as well. Likewise, Qatar Petrochemicals, where LDPE and ethylene, then QChem, again LDPE, HDPE, all the polyethylene investments, and Kafak, all these downstream investments, Catalum, biggest aluminium smelter, all this downstream investments, they were able to do it because they saw a lot of cash coming in from what they invested. So this really set the tone for Qatar to handle anything, because the product is already sold under long-term SPAs. At least 85% of the produce of Qatar, now it's Qatar Gas after the merger of Ras Gas and Qatar Gas in 2017. 85% of the LNG produced is committed under long-term SPAs, and the prices, Japanese crude consortium prices. There's a basket of prices in the Japanese crude consortium, so it's not directly linked to the market. Yes, there is a linkage to the market, but the prices doesn't drop so much as the crude, and their cost of production is probably the lowest of all the LNG producing countries, $1 to $1.25 per MMBTU. That has really put them on a world map. Every single board meeting, when I attend on Qatar Gas or mainly Qatar Gas, so there'll be question asked as to what Qatar has done differently, which has made them a success story on LNG. One is they went in early, so their overall the cost of construction was much better than the Australians who are spending huge tons now. The cost of production of the LNG is really small, and long-term SPAs locked in, they produce. More importantly, they also invested on the entire value chain. They invested on transportation of gas. Nakilat, this is the biggest LNG carrier in the world, having more than about 70 vessels. A lot of them only own, some of them on the joint venture basis. So that's a huge, I would say, spin. To invest on the entire value chain. They invested on regasification terminals, whether it's Golden Pass and Houston, Southhook in UK, then Adriatic Terminal in Italy. So all these things are game changers. So that has really put Qatar in the world map, and I know they had enough buffers to take care of all these shocks which can come. And I know every now and then you had the 2008 the world economic crisis, when Lehman Brothers went down and the entire financial market was down. Qatar also got affected, but they bounced back immediately because of the strength of the investment what they have done, and not just the hydrocarbon. Jahangir mentioned about the education. From 2002, after the September 11, I would say incident in 2001. Qatar started. The Qataris were not able to travel much to US to for higher studies or take exams. So Her Highness Sheikh Musa decided to bring in all the universities into Qatar. Most of the American universities have large ones have a campus in Qatar. Again, a visionary decision from Her Highness. So whether it's Carnegie Mellon, Texas A&M, Georgetown University, Virginia Commonwealth, there are a series of top-notch universities all come into Qatar, and that's a huge investment as well. So and then transportation, the kind of investment they have made in metro and the overall road infrastructure, that is continuing. On the free trade zones, yes, Qatar Financial Center, I remember 2005, it was set up under the visionary decision of Sheikh Mohammed bin Mohammed, who was the he was the Minister of Commerce and Industry that time. And then the leaders from Dubai Financial Authority joined here, Philip Thorpe and Stuart Pearce, I remember. So QFC was set up in 2005 to bring in a lot of companies from different sectors, but mainly focused on financial services oriented sectors. But they also opened for other sectors, like whether legal firms or accounting firms, audit firms. All these things started. So that is provided opportunity. The Qatar Science and Technology Park, which again Jahangir mentioned about, Qatar Free Zone Authority. That's going to be a biggest game changer as well. I know it's already there, and they've got huge mandate to have Make in Qatar kind of initiatives. So all these things, sovereign wealth fund also, I don't want to miss out on that. Huge sovereign wealth fund, $330 billion, and they have invested on the right assets. Of all the regional sovereign wealth fund, I rank Qatar as one of the smart sovereign wealth investors who had invested on fantastic assets across different jurisdiction, across different sectors to balance the risk. They don't want to keep everything in hydrocarbon, non-hydrocarbon assets. Also hydrocarbon assets, they have investments in a lot of ENR global oil and gas clients, Shell or the Rosneft in Moscow, in Total. They have also invested in leading banks, whether it's Barclays or Credit Suisse. So huge kind of development in terms of overall spreading of wealth started from Qatar Sovereign Fund. All these things, Nirlay, has really put Qatar on a pedestal where they can take care of shocks. They can take care of the shocks because their wealth is dispersed, and the cash is coming as well, continuously coming from the LNG investors. So that's what I would attribute it to. In terms of last year, of course, COVID had put a stop on every single economy. Qatar has again early to bounce back, because the oil price also after August 2020, or even I would say July onwards, it started stabilizing. So they were able to get this act on. And in terms of Ministry of Public Health, great job done. Rapid vaccination program. Now almost everybody in the country has been vaccinated at least twice, and the third dose has also been happening. All these things has made them, as kind of an economy which is I would say envious position they have even in the region. It's a star economy. So I attribute to all these decisions from the leaders, the visionary leaders of Qatar, and also they are in a good position in terms of having these huge gas reserves, which is also helping them. And that will continue to help them. And they have got a zero carbon program as part of 2030 national vision, even further down. So they'll make sure that there's more and more carbon emissions are under control, and it's already there. They've set up since I've been involved very closely with Qatar Energy and the entire group. I know what is their plans to continuously monitor their journey in the low carbon intensity program of hydrocarbons. I think that's what I would like to attribute to your question in terms of why Qatar is in this enviable position.
Yeah, thank you very much, sir. And what a fantastic insight you have given. I envy your energy as well as the kind of aspect you covered in your answer. But friends, this is what happened when you headed the oil and gas practice of KPMG for close to 8 years. This is a very, very great recognition. And Gopal sir has been at a very, very senior position. And as need not to tell, but you can probably have judged it by the insight which you provided. And I would say 360-degree perspective on this question. Sir, without taking much of the time, because I don't want to come between you and our esteemed members. So, my next question is that, as we all know, and I mentioned that you have assessed the number of chartered accountants on job front, and some of them in, setting up the practices and businesses also. If you can please elaborate on the skill set, or especially the initial preparation required for those who wish to set up practice in Qatar.
First, I would like to talk about people coming into the profession and qualifying, and then now thinking about setting up professionals. I'll briefly address on what is required to become a chartered accountant first,
Please.
And then take profession as their career, and then we will talk about what are the opportunities in Qatar in terms of audit profession. So I think, friends, to be in this audit and assurance domain, I think one of the most important thing is you need to have you should be committed to accuracy, integrity, and quality. Then you become a right fit for the assurance sector. I know the audit profession is subject to a strict oversight, more than what you can imagine in the last, I would say, 10 years or even 15 years, more so now with series of scandals and scams happening all around the world. The regulators are clamping on the audit profession big time. So that is mainly to preserve the financial security and also improve the quality of financial reporting of all the companies which the auditors are attesting. So you need to have that strong, I would say, the integrity which is required. Of course, attention to detail, accuracy, analytical skills, and also you need soft skills. It's not enough, you have technical skills nowadays, unless and until you have good soft skills to convince the client and move on. It will be very difficult. And so these are analytical, interpersonal skills. That's what soft skills I said. Problem solving and technical skills. You will always have some problems coming in the interpretation of accounting standards. Companies will like to interpret in one way, which may not be the ideal way as the standard goes. As you all know, most of the financial statements, I would say in Qatar, 99% is IFRS based. Even not now, even when I joined in 1994, most of the accounts were prepared under full compliance of international financial reporting standards. Those days it was IAS, and then with IFRS. So IFRS standards are not easy. They're not getting easy anymore. The last 3 years, you can say, 3 game-changing standards came. 2018 was IFRS 9. 2019, 2018 you had IFRS 9 and IFRS 15 as well. Revenue recognition standard. 19 you had IFRS 16. These 3 standards together completely change the dynamics or the overall feel and look of large financial statements, large companies' financial statements. So, and it came up with so much of challenges in terms of interpretation as well. So, unless and until you are equipped to deal with that, it will be very difficult, and you will not be able to convince the client. Even from the client's side, that they may not be having enough people who can interpret all these standards the right way for financial reporting purposes. There is a need of educating them and also taking a stance which is which is on the professional side without compromising your reputation and integrity. So so problem solving, technical skills, adaptability, people skills I talked about, decision making abilities. As I said, you'll be continuously challenged with the decisions to be made on a very short notice. So you need to have that. Of course, this doesn't come just like that. It comes by practice. Slowly, as you go along, as you grow more in the business profession, you get the ability to take decisions and the right decisions. So data analytics, of course. So these are key skills which are required for getting into this profession first. And then how do we grow? How do we grow? Whether you want first starting a setup in Qatar, just like a new chartered account, it's not going to be easy. You need to have some kind of an experience of being in a professional services firm, whether it's Big Four or non-Big Four. You need to have enough ability to demonstrate all the skills which I talked about. Once you have have a reasonable background, reasonable experience to have demonstrated all the skills, then probably you can think of coming and setting up an office here. Without that, if you become a chartered accountant and come and say, I want to start I would, in my opinion, it's a recipe for disaster. Don't ever try to run before you try to walk, before you try to crawl. So I think there's a lot of experience required to set up a shop in or an outfit in a foreign country. But it's not. I'm not saying it's impossible. But have some kind of an experience built around you, ecosystem built around you before venturing in. Umpteen number of opportunities, as Jahangir said, QFC is one option. You can set up audit firms very easily under QFC, and you don't need to be under regulatory regime unless you get into corporate finance and dealing with money, others' money. You can be in a non-regulatory regime under QFC. QFC is one option. I'm sure Jahangir is best placed to advise on that. But outside QFC, I missed Saxena Saab's presentation. I know what you covered fully, but in my opinion, even outside QFC, I have a lot of friends, Indian friends, who set up businesses outside QFC regime, and they're doing well. And slowly, it's going to be a long drawn journey, but it's not just the pure audit alone. Audit and accounting, I would like to say some of the non-audit assurance services could also be looked at. There are opportunities like you talked about even internal audit. You can be an internal auditor. Not necessarily you need to be a CAA to do the internal audit. If you do CAA, it definitely increases your credibility. But even without CAA, even with an Indian chartered accountant, you can be an internal auditor. You can advise on corporate governance of companies, which is very, very hot. Now, for the last 3 years, Qatar Financial Markets Authority has come out with a corporate governance code, which is mandatory compliance for all the listed entities, about 45 listed entities which are there in Qatar. But slowly, I expect this to be cascaded down into non-listed companies, also Qatari shareholding companies, or even private groups would like to voluntarily adopt this corporate governance code. So you can help them. So that's one area. There are very many accounting itself. There are a lot of companies, they don't want to invest on a huge accounting department. So you can be outsourced. You can be a CFO. We call it a CFO Bridge. One of my friends has got a company called CFO Bridge in Qatar. So you can like that. You can act as a CFO. As you can provide CFO services, because some companies, they don't want to invest on a CFO. You can provide CFO services for very many companies, and as long as you're not conflicted, you're not, having any kind of competition, kind of conflict. Otherwise, you can do that. So there are plenty number of opportunities. Please do communicate with Saxena or me or anyone. There are, of course, Nilep, the chapter chairman is there. The chapter is doing a great job. We can always connect you with the right people within the Ministry of Commerce and Industry for setting up. And then first you have to do homework. Come here and look at all of the options. Where you want to play. Come out with a proper study before jumping on. I think these are all my advice to the young chartered accountants who want to start practices in Qatar. I would definitely like to, echo what Alok sir said. It's not, it's not an easy place to start business. I would say in terms of the cost, management purposes. Rental is expensive. Getting visas for people, expensive. There are a lot of things which takes time. Till so, it's not going to be, day one you hit the thing. No, you have to slowly, feel the pain before you start gaining. So I think that's important. There will be enough pains initially, but people should not lose heart. You'll have enough opportunities as you grind through the pain. Gain will definitely come, and we're all there. Even though I'm a senior partner in KPMG, but I always do my best for Indian chartered accountants who want to start business. There are a lot of things which we don't do. I refer to Indian chartered accountants because either because we are conflicted out or the fee we will not be able to will not be able to accommodate that client. I keep on referring to that. So like that, like me, there are many Indian chartered accountants who are working in Big Four or second tier firms. They will always help you out. In terms of referrals. So you need to have a pipeline. You need to have a retainer clients so that you don't have a shock. You need to have a regular stream of income coming in. If you just wait for one engagement and then wait for next 5 months, who's going to pay for your rent and staff salaries and their housing rent? So you need to have a model where you have some retainer income coming in, and after that, yes, it's a great place to do business. Being here for 28 years, I know if I don't talk about Qatar, who will talk about the opportunities in Qatar? Humble view, if there are fresh chartered accountants, stint with a professional services firm will always put you in the right trajectory. If you are talking about fresh qualified chartered accountants, start with a few years of professional services firm experience, whether it's audit or advice consulting, but that really strengthens your fundamentals. So then you can leap up. So that's what my advice would be. And we all recruit at least every year. We recruit at least about 30 chartered accountants, whether it's India, Pakistan, Sri Lanka, wherever it's available from subcontinent. Of course, we do go to Far East as well, but at least 10 to 15 chartered accountants we recruit every year in KPMG itself. And as I said, 1 or 2 years, not necessarily 1 or 2 years. People like me have spent the whole life in the firm, but you take a call after that. If you're really starting to like the profession, slowly extend it. And I always say, in the formative years of your profession, don't do too much of experimentation. Be in a stable footing, and that really builds up your CV nicely, and then you can leap. So in terms of opportunities, there is plenty. Plenty of opportunities. Qatar is on a trajectory where there are, whether it's hydrocarbon sector. As I said, Qatar is going to almost double their production from 77. It goes up to 130 million tons. I'm sure there'll be people required in the hydrocarbon sector, banking, QFC. There are a lot of new entrants coming into QFC. So every single spectrum, free zone authority, I'm sure that will have 5 years from now there'll be so many companies will be operating from Qatar, making production in Qatar. So that's their whole agenda. So that means you require chartered accountants to support them. So there are enough opportunities. But as I'm just sharing my views as to if you start with a professional services firm, you are in a better position. Aditya, I was just saying the same thing. You Byte or Gulf Talent or Naukri.com, all this, we are all attached to them. We get the CVs from those websites and then do the complete screening and then go for it. And we also do campus interviews. we started from last year onwards. ICAA has asked us to come, and my HR team came and picked up. I think we had about 8 chartered accountants picked up from the freshers right out of the qualification. We picked them up, so that's also continuing.